If this weren't on video, I would have a tough time believing that a full-grown man would choose to so embarrassingly act in the way that Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, Brian Greene, is going to act in this video. It's just, as you're about to see. Sometimes, actually, before I play it, I've literally, going back to years ago when the show looked very different and I looked different, I would satirically say that MAGA reporters will do this weird "how do you do what you do" sort of thing to Trump, and it's such a waste of time. It's way too cheerleady, bootlicking, ass kissing, etc. But back when I was saying it then, I didn't literally mean they would say those words. But get ready for the Brian Greene clip. First, here's me some time ago, a while ago, saying this. So, what a softball interview. Sir, you're so strong. Incredible. Powerful. And the ultimate victim. How do you do what you do? Okay, so that was a joke. The girl or the lady in the interview that I was talking about didn't literally say those words. Watch Brian Greene, again, the significant other of Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually say to Trump, "How do you do what you do? You're so healthy."
Mr. President, any reaction to the governor of Pennsylvania, his mansion?
And this is the wrong clip. I do apologize. That was a lot of build up for the wrong clip. Here's the correct one. As I get it queued up, hit the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed.
You got the perfect health report. Everybody in the press wants to know this. How do you do it, Mr. President? I haven't set up at 2 a.m. in the morning since I was 25, and now we're 2:16 in the morning having a press conference. How do you do it?
Well, we had a couple of them at 2 o'clock in the morning now. Biden, I guarantee.
You're wearing the press out.
Biden was sleeping for 10 hours already. No.
Jaden, cut to yourself if you would.
That's scary.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for the press, really, I do. Some of it's fake news, but a lot of it's good, like you. And really, some of it's totally fake and sound like 60 Minutes and not.
How do you stay so healthy? How do you stay so energized?
Because I enjoy what I'm doing and I like the results. I think we're making America great again, and it makes me feel good, and probably keeps me happy.
Yeah,
okay? Thank you. That's a nice question. I like this.
Well, I mean, everyone's wondering, like, how in the world do you do it, Mr. President? 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm 55 years old. And I can't keep up with you.
55. What a nice age.
Why keep it up? Why is Brian Greene like on the floor? Look, whenever Trump looks down at him, he's down on the floor. It's very, maybe he's literally down on his knees. Mr. President, how do you do what you do? I had a dream about you last night, Mr. President. We were laying on a couch. I don't know what couch, doesn't matter. We were somewhere and you let me put my head on your lap, and I looked up at you. And you called me your little champ. I remember that. You said, "I'm your little champ." And when I woke up in the morning, I reached over to see if your strong, muscular legs were still there, and I realized it was just a dream, and I was devastated. Would you call me Mr. President? Would you call me your only little champ right here in front of the press? The press wants to hear it. I love you, Mr. President. And he's down the floor. Mr. President. What are you doing, Brian? It's humiliating. Really? And then Trump goes, some of the news is fake news, but some is good, like you. That's whenever he keeps out the Associated Press and he targets media outlets. This is what he wants the press to be. Literally saying, everyone in the press wants to know this. How do you do it, Mr. President? How do you stay so healthy? He's literally asking Trump that. Trump, who's dismantling the government, wrongfully deporting innocent people to prison camps, who's going after individuals like Miles Taylor, Chris Krebs, and media outlets, CBS, that he doesn't like, attacking the First Amendment, causing a constitutional crisis, not facilitating the return of Abrigo Garcia like the Supreme Court demanded. And the list goes on, and your question to him is, how do you stay so healthy when he literally looks like an orange sponge that's been partially squeezed out? Really? That's your question for him? How are you so healthy when he notoriously eats not particularly well? Okay. During the same plane presser, apparently it was at 2 a.m, Trump got asked about the arsonist who attacked Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania's home. Luckily, everyone was okay, but who wanted to, if Shapiro had been there, attack him. And this was Trump's response.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the governor of Pennsylvania? His mansion was set on fire. Do you have any reaction?
I just heard about it. No, I have to look into it.
You got the perfect health report. Everybody in the press wants to know this.
And that's what segued into that. That's what segued. And Trump knows in an instant if there's a bad portrait of him in some state capital. He had just spent a bunch of time, as Aaron Rupar said, he opined at length about the Masters while talking to reporters this morning, but played completely dumb about the arson attack targeting Governor Shapiro. He's very selective in what he does hear about and what he doesn't. What's really disturbing, though, is that already some within the right wing are, like Alex Jones, are seemingly casting doubt on the legitimacy of this and doing the whole, I guess this is Jones's only hammer, this must have been a false flag.
Or one particular person or another. It is not okay.
So they already got their people warmed up with the Tesla attacks and the swatting and all that to make sure their people are ready to do it. To have the, really the temperature turned up. Then the white supremacist strike, shoot up a big migrant protest, illegal alien protest, blow up a black church, shoot up a black church, and then all hell breaks loose. And the corporate media says it's legitimate. Cities are burning everywhere. The stock market has crashed. Hell, they might do it on Cinco de Mayo. Very good chance they're going to hit a Cinco de Mayo event. See, we're brainstorming here on air. See? Now, that alone may stop them from doing it. But now that I think about it, that lines up perfect.
Think about that logic. That's really unfalsifiable. You allege there's going to be a false flag operation, which I'm getting that terminology from the caption of this video that he posted. He says, Alex Jones issues an emergency warning. This is his account, but he speaks about himself in third person. Emergency warning. It makes major predictions concerning the timeline of horrific race-based false flag terror attacks being planned by the deep state. Which, whenever he has a report, this is an absolute must-watch, share detailed report. When he has one of those, it's just him talking, right? Like, his source is him. And his report and there's rumors going around that they're going to do false flags. It's just him starting the rumor. And then he says that in the wake of this terrible attack on Josh Shapiro. And always it seems to sort of get ahead of if it's clear the political motivation as it's going to be assumed. And then we'll get more information on it. But that the political motivation was maybe someone right wing who didn't like Shapiro because he's a Democrat. Then, it doesn't matter. And I don't even know what to do because we can all assume it could be political motivated and it could be an extremist. You don't have to defend the person, but instead immediately it's no, it must be the deep state doing false flag. And then he who notoriously has extreme viewers is almost putting a seed in there. What if on Cinco de Mayo there was a right-wing attack that really it's going to be the deep state? It's dangerous as much as it is just absurd. But then the logic is all to keep him from ever having to defend his crazy positions because there will be an attack on Cinco de Mayo. And if it doesn't happen, it's because I blew the whistle. Oh, really? That's perfect. You can make big, bold proclamations, but then say probably the fact that you blew the whistle on it is why it didn't happen because your predictions are always wrong. And the conspiracy brain of some of these big right-wing accounts, like I saw this pop up today from the End Wokeness account, and it's a photo of the individual who shot at Trump. And it says 9 months later, Yet we still know zero about the guy who nearly took out Trump. And then that little face that does a lot of work in these conspiracy theorists accounts, that little like rubbing the chin face emoticon. And what's being, because all of them are cowards and they won't just state what they want to state. It's always why I wonder why we don't know. What they're trying to say is there must have been some bigger conspiracy. It was definitely the Democrats. That's what they're trying to say. But the crazy thing is it's your fault that you don't know about this dude's motivations, which were terrible. And it's terrible that he attempted to kill Trump. But you must just not be paying attention, because I think in reality, they were paying attention. They just didn't like what they learned about him. Like this very well seemed to be obviously a deranged person who was looking up different notable politicians, including Democrats, to target. And then Trump came to his area and he went after Trump. He had been a registered Republican. His family seemed to be Trump supporters. And it didn't fit into the box they wanted it to fit. We learned a lot. We have heard students, his classmates, talk about his interests. He was a big shooter going to the gun range. We learned about the gun range that he went to. We learned about the shirt that he wore, of the gun club that he liked. We knew plenty. You just didn't like that it didn't perfectly fit into your narrative. And then Trump everywhere, whether it's in the meeting with Bukele or anywhere else, he's been bragging about his cognitive exam.
So I think most of you have seen they released my physical. I did the physical on Friday, and I understand it was a very good report. The numbers were perfect. And I took a cognitive exam, and I would challenge anybody here to meet those marks because I have a perfect mark. Were you impressed by that?
I am impressed, and I'm not going to take that test.
But you're not that surprised, right?
I'm not surprised at all.
And then, can someone explain why? He's pointing to Brian Glenn again. Why is Brian Glenn on the floor? He's on the floor. It doesn't make any sense. Well, indeed, the doctor, as I predicted, issued a very praise-filled report, like is always going to happen. Trump could be on his deathbed, and he would find a doctor that would say he's the most strong from the standpoint of strength. Media reports Trump's doctor issues a glowing report on his physical, touts perfect score on cognitive tests, and frequent victories in golf events. On Sunday, the White House released... Wait a minute. Is this doctor, definitely a doctor, / real doctor, Brian Glenn? What? Is it right? No. Some other doctor said that President Trump remains in excellent health, exhibiting robust cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, and general physical function, including the report with the results of the cognitive exam. And it was the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, which is the one we already saw. It's not very difficult. Now, Trump said he challenged the reporters, I dare you to get better marks on the test than I got, but that he got a perfect score. So maybe a part of the cognitive exam would be to ask, can you get more questions correct out of a 30-question test than 30? Because he seems to think he's challenging people to do better than he did, but he got all of them correct, supposedly. I don't know what to tell you other than I got every answer right, he said. So very proud of himself that he doesn't have severe brain damage. Share your thoughts in the comments.